Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. May Jesus Christ bless you. Alright. I hate to say it, but the good Lord is with us. It's been 12 months in the making. I parked this bugger of a thing up for 12 months because it just had me absolutely baffled. I bought it with all the hype in the world, but life just, it was the rush of life at the time. And what I find interesting is I had an opportunity thrown at me yesterday, and I felt less in a rush now to just spend today getting this issue fixed than I did all that time ago trying to just get it running. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, so maybe I wasn't prepared at the time to be able to get the answer to the problem, but now I've got the solution. And I'm gonna balancing flail mowers. Like a bit of hindsight, I don't mind doing this. It's like the other month I had to fix a diesel pump for an injector pump for a diesel motor. Anyway, and I thought, well, now I've done it, I'm going to give a bit of hindsight because I know that this is going to help someone else. So, Hayes flail mowers. This is the big one, the 2400 wide. Is it worth the money? I don't know yet. But I finally got it running, so we're now going to know, is it worth the running? Is it worth it? So let's take a look at it. I'm going to turn the tractor off, and we're going to do a physical run through there, just because we can. But with the amount of heartache and devastation and time wasted, but was it time wasted? It was just probably not. It was things that I had to learn to understand about the machine itself. I said you have to have a relationship with it. So here we go. I went and bought a new one of these because you need one that's a little bit longer. Anyway, so the length of it, I haven't got a bloody length there. Look, got the toolbox here, and I'll tell you the reasons why. We'll go through the rundown of all of it to give you, the things that I didn't have and I had to figure out. So, it's got a 500 mil long body, and I think the other one we've got is 400 mil. And when you put the body down, let's put the body down so I can show you why we want a bit of extra length. I mean, let's do the rundown. Someone needs to do it. And I probably know that this is going to sell a few machines just by doing the rundown. So we've dropped it down. Now, why would I want a longer arm? To keep it square. Shorter arms and gets it dipping. Now, I thought there was a disbalancing, and I was like, is it because I've opened this up and have I tightened those too much, and has tightened those, has it warped the body? And it wasn't that. What else? I pulled this cover off and I've done adjustments on the belt, and then you've obviously got the bearings, and you got your drive shaft, and you got your gearbox, and it was maddening because I was like, there's nothing wrong here. And then the last time I drove it, I couldn't believe it. 2 of these fell off. I was like, and I thought, this thing's a bloody lemon, But no, I've got to take personal responsibility here, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that's done this. When others say to you, you'll see videos on YouTube and they're like, oh, it's vibrating half to death. I think I figured out why. I'd rather be the clown so you don't have to be the clown, because I've got the cash to throw at it and you may not have it. So just let me make your mistakes for you. Right, so next, everything I asked for in this mower, I went onto the website recently and they've actually got it now. I had to makeshift it myself. I didn't want a hydraulically driven one. I wanted one that I could just, hold still in one spot. So again, I went and bought another one of these, and what I do when I want to move it is I just pull I pull that pin out, pull that out, I pull it out, and create the adjustment. And as you can see with the back of the tractor, if I want it to come all the way out here, I can have it come to here if need be. But that's not the, like, I'm not on a vineyard, I'm not on any orchard. Where I'm at is grass grows 5 to 6 foot tall annually. So we need tracks because the rocks here are that solid that, you know, you're going to break your wrist or you're going to break your machinery. So I've got to be careful even driving this. And that's why I've got to drive this, because I need to have a bucket on the front of it and it's feeling around whilst I'm doing the flail mowing, because wombat holes and rabbit holes and rocks and little cliff edges and creek runouts and all the rest of it. I've got elderly people that like to ride around on this property, and the last thing they need to do, because they don't have the local knowledge that I do, see, I just suffer the place and just blast the grass seeds out of my quad bike afterwards, but they don't have that knowledge, and bloody easy to get bogged. And when you're no spring chicken and you get bogged in the middle of a paddock and you barely know how to use a mobile phone, the last thing you really want to do is be riding around places where you don't have all the equipment you need to be able to do what it is you've got to do, essentially, I guess. So my job is, because I steward the land, I'm not a cowboy, I look after infrastructure. I hate cows, that's why. Creek crossings, I built some ramps, and good solid ones, and painted them up. They'll be there for the next decade. And what the cowboy now wants, and it's fair enough, is the paddocks that the cattle are in, is do a perimeter flail mulching with the perimeter, and then every 200 metres do a run through it, just so they've got a clear run to be able to not go in the grass unless they have to go in the grass. And if they do go into the grass, they can get it back to their run and then take them to the stockyards if need be. So, look, again, you know, elderly people, they don't need their wrists getting broken on them. So I'm better off steadily riding through these paddocks with the bucket on the front of this machine and this flail mower to bring the stuff down. It doesn't even have to be ground level, but depending on how I feel, I might take it down to ground level, because it'll be a time scenario. I've got other projects on at the moment. I've got 2 days to do what I've got to get done here, and you know, it may be possible. I might take it down to, say, 1 foot in height, just to get the height out of it, so they can see rocks and whatnot that are in front of them, and there's no more grass seeds, and they've got a better feel for what the paddocks are all about. Anyway, so my job's like a shotgun, point and shoot. It's easy. Just got to drive, and if there's any rocks, move them out of the way with the bucket whilst I'm driving. So I use the bucket to feel where we're going to make sure that we don't hit rocks, because they're really like volcanic rocks and not sandstone. Right, so this here, I'm not bothering with the hydraulics. I don't need it to come out and in. I just wanted it to stay still. Plus I've got the buckets and whatnot hooked up, so I don't need to be swapping around hydraulic hoses. I don't need to put another pump on the tractor. The most important part though is this thing came with hammers. I didn't want hammers, so I got teeth. I got the, you know, the wire blades, you know, the ones. Anyway, so let's get down here and have a look. Wire blades, see? Now, so first of all, let's turn the tractor on and we'll lift this thing up and turn it back off, and we'll have a conversation about the wire blades, because this is where the balancing dilemma was. I couldn't believe it. It was so simple, but I had to get down into the nitty gritty of it to see what it was when I was fixing something else. Excellent. Alright. So what's funny is when I turned this thing on, let's go around the other side, all the chains were still, except for the chain just here. That's what I find fascinating, right? Because like, you're looking at the machine and it's like, what on earth would make the bloody thing rattle? You'd think it's impossible for it to rattle anyway. So, as we get underneath here and see that, you know, you got to put in 8 washers per V-blade. And what had happened was, you know, I said the chain was just there. It was this bastard just here. I had 2 washers on the outside. I can't believe it. Just wasn't going to see it 12 months ago, because obviously that's when I'd done it. But as I was going through and replacing washers, because I wanted to make sure the job that I'm doing, I got fresh washers so that everything's sound. Yeah, I had 2 washers on the outside. So 2 washers on the outside of that body put the whole barrel out and made the entire machine nearly rattle itself to death. So I'm the clown in this little circus that's just made the expensive mistake, which is 12 months of not using it to get paid, to discover a solution so that you won't have to go through the heartache that I went through. So if you're going to put V-blades in, don't be stingy on the washers, and make sure that the washers are on the inside though. That's what disbalanced mine. On one of those, and that's why I can't believe it actually picked it up on the chain on the outside, that there was a disbalance in the barrel. So anyone wanting to balance a flail mower, if you've changed from hammers over to wire blades, make sure you haven't put your washers on the outside of those, of the actual bodies where they attach to. Easy thing to do, and you're not going to be able to see it unless you get down there and you flick it around and you have a look at each and every one, because it's not that much of a complicated machine. So I'm saying there has to be a reason for why there was a problem, and they're made so they're balanced. So there we go. This thing here, it works now. Now what am I not happy with? I think the gearbox is a little bit windy, and look, I've backed the gearbox, the belts off, and it's pretty well balanced. And you know, considering I've got it pretty well balanced, and when you back the accelerator off, you can hear it. It winds like it's just beautifully balanced, but it's a very windy gearbox, and that's, I'm concerned, is that going to last me for years? Anyway, let's go for a bit of a drive. Yeah. This, as you can see, it's fallen over now, but it was, you know, I'm 6'3", 6'4". It was up to here. We've had like a bit of a rain event, but that was full as you like, and it's gotten that full that it's fallen over. So let's let this lay on the ground, and I'm going to put it in second gear low, just because we'll give it every possible chance. We will sit the flail mower on the ground and we'll just do a lap, and let's just see how well it does. So the test we're going to do right now is 4.5, 5 foot grass that has not been mowed once this season, that has fallen over, it got that tall. So if you were going to use a slasher or anything else, you'd have to do 1 or 2 runs. You'd have to cut the guts out of it first, then come back over it, then go over it again. I'm going to have this at ground level. We ready? We're ready for the grand entry. Like it, I guess just, yeah. Let's see if it works. All right. Turn the fan off and suffer a bit of heat for now. Back into first. Let's drive over there first. Yep. Brake off. There's a stump that's in there. I've got to be careful of that bugger. Right. Now, listen to what I'm saying. It's a windy gearbox, and there's not much you can do about that. So we'll just have to suffer that. I run it at 1500 revs. Second gear, in low. That's dropped on the ground. Let's go. What we're driving through. like the Cookie Monster. It's chewing it up like Hubba Bubba, eh? I'll turn it off and you'll hear what I mean. See it winds down nicely, it's not that badly balanced. Yeah. Let's go and have a look at the actual mow itself. So, like, again and again, that's bloody thick grass, so, you know, and we just drove through it, skid on the ground, isn't that unreal? No, there's no going over that twice. So that was what my epiphany was. I was like, I want one of these, but I want the V blades on it, and because you can't do that with the hammers, it bogs the machine down. Anyway, I don't know what else to say, because I think what you've just seen in the explanation that I've done, you've seen that it works. It's got a bit of a noisy gearbox in it. That may just be normal. But if I can run for 5-6 hours straight, knocking 4-foot grass down to that and not have to think twice, what else could you ask for? Anyway, see, what I would use that for in my situation here is, I'll use this as the first run, and I've got a finishing deck afterwards, and it's 3.5 meters wide, so I'll do the rough cut with this. But is this even rough? No, not really. It's just, it's gone from 4 meters down to what? Nothing. So, 4 feet down to nothing. You know, it's pretty thick, isn't it? And it's just hacked it up. Rightio. God bless you. Jesus loves you. I can't say I'm unhappy anymore. So, Hayes mowers, Hayes mulchers, really good stuff. When it comes to balancing, these are made to perfect calibration. You anything outside of it, a washer on the outside of the hammer body, that'll be enough to put everything out. And like I was saying, when I was first turned it on, just there I had it lifted up. None of the other chains were moving except for the chain, which was actually next to where I had the washer outside of the body. So my issue, it's dealt with now. Maybe I'll give you a Rendane in 12 months and after some heavy use, and let's see if I can get 12 months out of it. But you know, for now, if that's the result, it doesn't come with wire blades, but you can get them. Make sure that you put 4 washers either side, so there's very little play. And what you'll have is a perfectly calibrated machine, and happy days, as we say. Anyway, there we go. Have a good day. Bye for now.